Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. Today we have with us Marcus Räder, who is the co-founder and CEO of Hostaway, the leading all-in-one vacation rental management software. Marcus, welcome to the program.
Mike, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for having me over.
You are welcome. So I want to hear about what you do and how you do it and why you do it, but give us a little bit of background on your entrepreneurial journey. I'm sure that this was not when you were in third grade, you were sitting there going, I must develop an all-in-one vacation rental management software. So what was your journey like up to this point in your career?
It's funny you should mention third grade because I actually started my first business when I was 11. I became what I did. I didn't know the terminology then, but I became a loan shark. Most of the kids in our school got weekly allowances, and I realized that I can make a lot of money if I borrow them and then they pay me back double the next week, which was very successful until there was a crackdown on that business. The parents of the other kids, they didn't think it was a nice business, and they claimed that it was regulated, which I do agree with. Those should be regulated, but I was just 11 years old. And then I had a couple of other false starts as well. For example, me and a couple of friends, when we were in college, around 20 years old, we started Airbnb for boats. Okay, of course, we started before Airbnb even existed, but today it would be called Airbnb for boats.
Yes.
And we run into the classic problem where we even had customers ready, but you needed to build a product, and it takes a lot of time and money to run a product or build a product, and we just didn't have the energy. Today, you could set up a site like that in 5 minutes. You can buy software to run it, but we had to build everything from scratch. But then my real breakthrough came with Hostaway. So I have lived in a lot of different countries, and as a result of that, I've traveled around the world. I always loved the idea of having real estate as a more flexible asset rather than buying a home and staying there for the rest of your life until you die, which sounds very boring to me. I like the idea of having an asset that can be rented out, but also renting other people's homes is an incredibly enticing idea. So 7 years ago, me and my wife, we moved to Canada, to Toronto, and I started looking around and see what should I do. And I noticed that Airbnb seems to encapsulate exactly what I believe in. And I also found out that it's a massive industry that nobody really knows about just yet. And if you think about 2015, very few people knew about Airbnb back then. And I started doing research around it, and I found out that it's actually not run by amateurs. It's run by, a large part of it is run by professionals who manage multiple units on behalf of the owners. And what they're lacking, I interviewed about 40 of them over a period of 3 months. They were all lacking software to manage their business. And that's when I started looking at what would it take to build a software. And I found out that it's virtually impossible to build a good software, and that's exactly why they're having this problem. And this was a challenge I was able to sell to my co-founders, because if there's a problem that's very easy to solve, we can solve it with a few lines of code, then probably there's a reason why the solution isn't out there. But if there's massive barriers of entry, then that's something that's attractive, because you can work for years to bring down those barriers, but once you make it true, nobody else can join you. And that's pretty much set up the foundation for our success. Of course, we made a lot of mistakes along the way, but eventually our vision became true. We became one of the market leaders globally in vacation rental software.
Well, I love how you took a passion, which is your flexible, free travel lifestyle, and then you discovered, the Airbnb world, and it's like, wow, that's pretty cool. And then you started learning about it, immersing yourself in that, and then did something that I would venture to say most people don't do when they start a business. You went out and interviewed 40 to 50 people. I think most people that you see like on Shark Tanks of the world, they go, ooh, this would be cool. Let me spend all my money and time and get patents and all this. And they do it backwards. But, the lean startup concept of minimum viable product, get out there and get it done, interview people, see what nuances and tweaks that you need. And that's what you've done. And you probably had, I don't know, dozens and dozens of iterations and tweaks to the software over the years, but you got to start with something, which is here's a need, how big is the need, and it's even better when the barrier to entry is high, because that means that it's harder for competitors to come in and start, nipping at your heels. So what was one of the first things that you did once you started learning from those people you interviewed and you articulated the true problem? You then reached out some of your maybe colleagues to say, we need to round some money up because we got to get coders. But what was that process like that started you down that path to building this?
That's a really interesting question, because that's something that I don't think it's a big struggle for many future entrepreneurs on how to actually get started, but it's something also that people don't typically ask. So what I did is I reached out to my network of developers, and I had a very simple proposal. I said, I'm going to give you 50% of this company, and you're going to get very, very rich, but you need to build a product, and I'm going to do everything else. And I think it was more luck than anything that I happened to meet the perfect co-founder, and but that's a struggle, and it's hard because you need to sell. If you're someone who doesn't like selling, then it's going to be hard to sell the idea for someone to quit their cozy job, remove their salary from their lives. Salaries are a nice thing to have, but that's not a luxury you get if you don't have any money. And we didn't get any salary, so I managed to convince my co-founder to actually do exactly that. And then we were able to raise capital little by little, but in the end we were quite efficient on the dilution. So to give an example, we have one of the most expensive platforms in the industry. There's one competitor of ours that has raised over 200 million just to build a similar platform, and they're the only ones who can compete when it comes to the functionality. We have raised only 2.1 million.
Wow, 1% of the other. That's amazing. So you're very efficient. So, when a lot of people, when they say, oh, what do you attribute your success to? I want to hear your answer to that, but I would suspect even just hearing this, you are a visionary. You see the big picture, and then you're a motivator. You get the troops, riled up to follow you to go, hey, developers, I've got this cool idea. I can't code a lick of code, but you can. Why don't we come together? We'll have a fair split of some revenues, and if you join me, I'm going to go out there and raise the flag and push this. And you took a vision and you took action. Is that accurate?
Yeah,
and then what other factors are part of how you find yourself succeeding?
Absolutely. I like how you said troops there. I'm definitely a wartime CEO. There's nothing more boring for me than peacetime. When business, it's not growing explosively, but it's growing okay, and everyone is okay, and everyone is fine. That's when I'm suffering. But when there's a challenge, or when there's massive growth, and especially if there's growth pains, that's when I really can shine. And we actually had a crisis. Well, we had many times we were extremely close to bankruptcy. And that's what happens if you want a so-called lean startup where you don't have that 200 million to back you up. That's just something you got to learn to live with. But one thing that I've always told the troops is that when there's a critical point in the war, I will be in the front line. And if you want to stay behind, that's completely fine. I will go there. I will fight the enemy myself. And every time when that's happened, I won. And the only thing I ask for the troops in return is, give me all the weapons I need. Tell me, who am I fighting? What is the best outcome? Why are we taking this fight? And what are their weaknesses? And then I go out and I fight for that. And that's something that truly brings respect in the troops, because they know that if they are losing the battle, they can always send in me. And they also have, from previous experiences, they have the confidence to go and ask me to just do it, and I do it. We've closed a lot of deals that way. We have had a lot of threats to the business that I've been able to fend off, and that's something that I love doing.
You know, I was a client of mine sent me a thought for the day, scripture reading for the day this morning, and the gist of it was, in business, we are in a boxing match. And we are duking it out, fighting it out, and at the end, we fall collapse at the top of the pile with the sweaty competitors up underneath of us that we've conquered. It was that kind of a feel. Well, that's exactly what you're talking about. You know, business is not, you know, the laptop lifestyle and click, click on the beach, and now here comes my millions. Frankly, who wants that? I want to be able to work hard and appreciate, and, you know, you go out and do some yard work and you work up a sweat and you get sore, and at the end of the day, you feel like I accomplished something. Same way in your business. When you see that battle, whatever that is, you know, oh, someone's coming against us, so I'm going to hunker down and really improve our business, or I'm going to go out and make that strategic alliance, or I'm going to go out and make those sales. That becomes very rewarding. So talk a little bit about being aggressive in that way, but then not overly aggressive to where you're just bowling people over. And now that could, you know, out of balance, that can work against you.
Yeah, that's very true. As one of the biggest transitions you have to make, and this is mostly a problem for first-time founders, is that at some point as a founder, you are simply too passionate for your own good. And you will step on people's toes, and basically, you go ahead and hire someone who's much better than you will ever be at their job, but then you go in and give your opinions, and that's just shooting yourself in the foot. But there are times when you need to truly support the team, and I can give you a very practical example. When COVID hit, we lost a lot of business. We actually lost, over the coming 12 months, we lost around 60% of our customer base. Wow. As a result of that, unfortunately, due to bad timing, we were about to raise capital. We had to let 1/3 of our staff go. Now, the rest of the staff, they were saying, hey, this is not really fun. We don't enjoy working here, because right now we work in the travel industry and travel is dead. Nobody knows if travel is ever coming back. And whoever we talk to, our customers, our partners, everyone is negative. Everyone is afraid that the world is coming to an end. So I told them, look, any customer of ours that gives any indication of having business challenges right now, put them on a call with me. And it turns out for 3 months in a row, I was back-to-back calls with people just like me whose business were going under. But that was what I found out by talking to these people. Was I found that some of them saw light at the end of the tunnel, and I was able to direct our company towards that light. And now we are almost 10 times bigger than pre-pandemic. But I didn't want our team to take that fight. I didn't want them to see that negativity out there. So I took it, and as a result of that, our company is one of the strongest in the entire space today.
Well, let me unpack a couple things there, because what you just said was some more, you know, contributing factors to success. You should write a book. You know, you stuck with the plan, you stuck with the vision. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. All of those things that we've heard, but how many of your colleagues or strategic alliances, like you were back-to-back calls for 3 months? I wonder if you could, you know, wave a magic wand and know how many businesses you personally saved through those conversations, because someone may have hung up the phone with you going, man, Marcus just breathed new life into me. I'm going to go out and I'm going to get her done, and I'm going to hold fast. You never will know. You never will know what those did. Now, that it saved your business, it kept your team strong, but I just think that that's a wonderful encouragement to see, or to think about what you did to save other businesses by taking the positive approach.
That's a really good question. I never thought about it that way. I should actually look at the numbers. But one thing I did notice is I asked a lot of people, you know, what measures have you taken? And then there were a couple of pieces of advice. I won't go into details now, but basically I was able to share that advice with others. And I did get emails later saying, "Hey, Marcus, this tip that you gave to manage my cash flow during uncertain times, that's absolutely amazing, and it works." And that was stuff that I had just learned from the others, because in the end, I'm selling software here. I'm not running the business that our customers are running. I used to, but I'm not anymore.
You were reaching out to these people. You were doing mini masterminds and taking a nugget that you learned from one conversation and giving it as advice in another conversation and learning something else and apply it to your company. You could have, if you could have hit rewind, you could have taken all of those conversations and over the 3 months and just invited every one of them to a weekly mastermind, rah motivation, planning, strategic call and gone, "Hey, what are you guys doing that's working?" But you did them individually, which showed that you personally took care for them. But I think that's a really neat approach, is you're learning and iterating and improving. In fact, it reminds me when you said now you're 10 times bigger or better after COVID now, because people have now come back to life. I heard a phrase the other day. Have you ever heard of the term revenge travel?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that a lot of people now are going, "Man, we were cooped up and we're getting out of here." And then now all of your clients that you're serving with your software, now all of their Verbos and Airbnbs are getting booked up because people are out there, traveling and like the rubber band rebound effect. So I think that's awesome. You guys persevered and now you're taking advantage and benefiting from that. So that's amazing.
Yeah, one thing that really helped us is that when we founded the company, we worked in many good and bad companies. But one thing we wanted to make sure that we never compromise on is that our business needs to be a good place to work. It means if you're working here, you need to enjoy work. And that turns out to be quite a challenge. It's easy to say that it should be a nice place to work, but it's incredibly hard to do in practice, because what it needs is that you have happy people who work with other happy people. So if they're working with the customers, we have to make the customers happy. And to do that, you have to provide good value and a good product and good support. But it's also a positive reinforcement loop. If you have the sales team is happy, they're going to be positive when they go out speaking to prospects. They're going to convert them with their positivity alone. If a customer is upset and they talk to our support team, if the support team is happy, their positivity alone is going to help. And that was something that that we also did during the pandemic, when a lot of companies in our space, they just let everyone go. We let the people go that we had to let 1/3 go, but we told the others, some even gave immediate raises, but we told the others, look, you're safe. You're part of the core team. Nothing is going to happen. And they trusted us. We were able to maintain that trust. But it wasn't about that one time. It was about all the previous times when we've shown them that we really are working towards making this a nice place to work.
Yep, that's awesome. So let's wrap up with this, Marcus. If a property management company with many properties is looking to grow their business and automate things, what's the main benefit of Hostaway that they should understand that you provide them?
The main benefit is the support. It's we have better and more reviews than anyone in this space. We built the software to be very easy to support, and that's because unlike most of the people in this space, we're actually not from real estate. We're from technology, and that's why we're able to provide good support. But what it means is that when you're choosing a critical business tool, you want to make sure that someone holds your hand, helps you set it up, which is exactly what we do. And then if you ever have a question, you can get an answer immediately. In fact, we got an offer for everyone here. If you go to our website, hostaway.com, you'll get to talk to us within 1 hour. So if you want to get a demo or discuss your need, we'll put you in front of a real person within 1 hour. And sometimes we can't meet that. In that case, our backup offer is I'll get with a call, on a call with you personally. And I can tell you from our experience that almost never happens, because we are able to get you to talk to someone within 1 hour. And that's a good first impression, but it's set the expectations. We are, we like working with happy people. We are happy people, and we provide the best software in the space.
Love it. Well, I love your story, love your passion, your drive of serving your clients and serving your internal team and staff, and just the approach that you take. So hostaway.com, the challenge and the of the support, get on a call, learn about the software to help manage your rentals, and it just is a spectacular story. So Marcus, thank you so much for coming on today. It was a real pleasure talking with you.
Thank you, Mike. It was really fun to be here.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.